Hey guys, welcome back to another impressions video. Today I will be talking about Tomb Raider, which is this is the 2013 reboot for the PlayStation 3, and it's also available for the 360 and PC, I believe. And just recently, the definite version got announced for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so pretty good chance for those of you that haven't played the game yet. And this is a fantastic game. I picked this up during Black Friday for dirt cheap. And I'm really glad I did, because I really enjoyed this game. But before I start talking about the game, I just want to give a quick disclaimer that the original Tomb Raider series, I never really put a whole lot of time into them. I had a friend growing up that he was a huge fan of the series, and he would always, play the games. And whenever I would go to his house, he would play the Tomb Raider games. But the reason I'm saying this is because there's a small group of people that really dislike this game, and it seems to be the hardcore, old school fans of the series. For some reason, didn't like this game. So I just want to make that clear that since I'm not a big fan of the original Tomb Raider series, this game didn't really bother me, and I believe the reason why some people dislike this modern version of the game is because it focuses way more on action and less tomb raiding and puzzle solving, as far as I'm concerned. But for me, again, I'm a big fan of the Uncharted series, and this game is very, very similar to the Uncharted series. And in fact, I think it does some things even better than the Uncharted series. And it's funny because when this game got announced at E3 maybe 2 years ago, or I don't know, however long this game was announced, I remember thinking, oh great, here we go, we're gonna have another Uncharted clone, boring generic third-person shooter in the market. And I was partially right. I mean, this is essentially a Uncharted clone. It's a third-person shooter that borrows a lot of elements from the Uncharted series. But the kicker here is that this game does several things really well, and in fact, it improves in some aspects of the Uncharted series, namely the gameplay and the design of the game, which is which are two very important points in my opinion. When it comes to video games. So let me expand on that. But before I'll talk briefly about the story. This game basically tells the beginnings of Lara Croft. It's basically her first adventure, and in fact, the motto of the game is a survivor is born, meaning that you see how Lara Croft became this adventurer, and basically you're with a crew of archaeologists in this ship, and you set sail for this I guess hidden island or mythical island near Japan, and you actually get there, and you find this lost island, if you will. And once you find it, everything goes to hell. You find out that there's this crazy guy that created a cult, and the island has some I guess ancient powers that prevent people from escaping the island. So it's up to you to help and rescue your friends, and get rid of this lunatic guy in charge of the island, and solve the mystery of why people can't escape the island. So the story is pretty interesting. It keeps you hooked, but it's at the same time it's pretty cheesy. So the story may not be the strongest point of the game, but I really liked how it keeps you intrigued and pushes you to keep playing the game. But let's talk about the gameplay, which is, in my opinion, this is where the game shines. Essentially, if you compare this to an Uncharted game, the one thing that I really like about Tomb Raider is that it provides a little bit of more of a open world approach, if you will. The game is not fully open world, but the areas that you explore are pretty big and allow you to do more exploration and collect a lot of stuff. And the collecting is pretty well done in this game, in my opinion. It never feels forced, because you don't actually need to collect in order to progress through the game. The collection is pretty much just you know, a side quest, if you will. If you want to be a completionist and you want to find all the treasure, if you want to find all the hidden GPS parts, but it does reward to actually explore the environments quite a lot, because you get parts that you can use to upgrade your weapons. And you can hunt animals, and whenever you kill enemies, you also get points that allow you to unlock new skills. So there is this also unlocking progression mechanic that keeps you, you know, looting throughout the game and exploring the areas. And the cool thing about Tomb Raider is that if you are looking for straight on action like the Uncharted games, you can do that, because you can progress. You know, you can kill some enemies in one area, progress to the next one, and keep doing that. But I really like the change of pace in the game, because I found myself, you know, clearing an area of enemies and then just make sure that I found as many collectibles as possible within that area. And it's that open area type of environment that really helps the game. You know, the areas are just very well designed, and they actually encourage the player to explore, and it's really fun exploring. And you know, once you unlock some skills, you can have your map pointing where the treasures are, so it makes it for a little bit easier for you to find the hidden treasures and whatnot. The tomb raiding aspect in this game is very minimal. There are only a certain numbers of hidden tombs in the game, where but I really like that, because these levels were designed in such a way that they were very small, and they revolve around solving one environmental puzzle. And by that I mean you have to look at the environment and figure out how you can progress to the next room. You know, using boxes or, you know, lighting things on fire. It really pushes you a little bit to think outside the box, and I really enjoyed playing the hidden tombs in the game. And the rewards are usually, you know, weapon upgrades, or you get a treasure map for that particular area in the game, so you can, you know, open your map by pushing the select button, and you can see where the treasure is located. So if you're having trouble finding some of the stuff, it's really useful to raid the tombs in this game. But again, I can see why loyal fans of the series were disappointed, because those areas are really small, really short. Once you solve, or once you figure out the puzzle, and once you get the treasure, you know, you're pretty much done. The game is not very long. It takes about 10 hours. It probably took me around 12, because I try to complete and collect as much as I could, and I believe I collected 91% of all the hidden collectibles in the game, which is really good in my opinion. But again, you know, I really enjoyed that portion of the game. You know, the open areas where you can just look for treasure, and the cool thing is that the platforming in this game is also superior to the Uncharted platforming, in the sense that because of the open areas in the game, you can sometimes find different ways to reach certain areas, whereas in the Uncharted games everything seems to be linear and scripted in a way. And you know, you can jump from platform A to platform B, and that's it. You have to follow a certain script, if you will. Whereas in Tomb Raider, you know, the areas are a little bit more open, and you can sometimes reach your destination by different ways. The combat itself is not very good, but neither is the combat good in the Uncharted series. So this is something that both you know, companies, Naughty Dog and Square Enix, or Crystal Dynamics, they have to improve for future games, in my opinion. So again, I'm not saying the combat is bad, but it just feels like it could be a little bit more redefined. The AI is not very smart, if you will. If you you know, find their weak points, or if you can find a safe spot within the map, you can just stay in one spot and wait for the enemy to come to you, and you can you know, kill them very easily. And Lara has a lot of weapons at her disposal. You can get shotguns, handguns, rifles. They're all upgradable, and it's really fun looting in this game. You know, once you kill an enemy, you can loot their body and get parts for your weapons, and one of the most fun weapons is actually the arch that you get very early in the game, and when you fully upgrade it, it's really fun to use it. And the game encourages also stealth in a few parts, so if you want to be stealthy, you can take that approach, and it's really fun. The characters in the game, again, it's a little bit on the cheesy side. You get to meet some of the partners that Lara had for this expedition, but the game does a good job of not becoming boring, if you will. The game does a good job of keeping things fresh, and like I said, it's up to you. You can mix however much exploration you want with action, and if you want just action, you can just plow through the game and naturally progress and skip all the collecting parts in the game. And one thing that I really enjoyed about this game is how they portray Lara Croft in this game, because as we all know, in the past, she was popular for her looks and the sexuality and how she was portrayed. But in this game, she really feels like a real woman, if you will. It's really impressive to see her personality throughout the game. She's really brave, she's very determined, and she shines the most because of her personality and her will to find out what's wrong in this cursed island. And that's a really good change of pace when compared to the original Lara Croft. So I really enjoyed her character. I think they did a very, very good job of turning her into a real woman, if you know what I mean. So she was very enjoyable. Like I said, the rest of the cast was a little bit on the cheesy side, but when you combine all the elements, I think this is a very, very solid game, and I'm really glad I played this, because it may I may put this in my top of 2013 list, because it's a really, really enjoyable game. And if you like games like Uncharted, by all means give this game a shot, because I think it's worth. It's a really fun game. Mixes third-person shooting with platforming in a very, very good way, and puzzle solving too. I keep forgetting about that. I really, really enjoyed doing the tomb raiding portions of the game that had a small puzzle sequence in order for you to get the treasure. Graphically, the game it's pretty impressive as well, but this is one part where the Uncharted games have a clear advantage. Just the graphics, the characters, and the overall presentation. Naughty Dog is they are the masters of that, and this game falls short in those regards. But by all means, this game is was released this year in 2013. It's already really cheap, so I highly encourage everybody to pick this game, because it's widely available, and now that they're coming with a definite version for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, there's more of a reason to pick the game up. Just to end on a quick note, I did try the multiplayer mode in this game, and I would recommend to stay away from it. It suffers from terrible frame rate and terrible netcode. It's basically impossible to kill somebody and know what's going on, and I find it funny because I was playing online and there were people that were level 54, level 55, which means they put tens and tens of hours just into multiplayer mode, and I just cannot imagine how they did that, because multiplayer in this game is so broken. So yeah, avoid multiplayer, but for the single player, by all means give this game a shot. It's a very solid game, and I'm hoping that Square Enix is gonna follow up with another game, even though I don't think the game performed very well sales wise. But yeah, that's my impressions on Tomb Raider for the PlayStation 3, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.